Flameout by Scott Thomas.
Well, at least I know I have some friends in the room here. Like the title says, this is InfoSec Flameout. You might know InfoSec Burnout. This one's a little bit different, not too much of a stretch, but kind of gives it a little bit different kind of view on things. I tend to talk too fast, so I've got a couple friends in here that may wave at me or throw some, mush balls or something, so I'm going to try and slow it down. So basically the idea behind InfoSec Flameout is burning out in information security. If you have problems with your job, or if you feel like you're getting burned out, this is probably not a good idea. So the way all this started was I wrote a blog entry, and basically it was burning out and pouring on gasoline. So I thought this was pretty apropos for that. A couple of the things that we're planning on covering here, some personal cause and effect of what I've seen from my personal career on InfoSec burnout and the effects that it causes on our personal lives. We're also going to look at, can you avoid it? Are there things that you can do to try and lessen it or maybe deal with it a little bit? Because basically, with the fact that we work in technology, we don't want to end up looking like this. One of the things that attrition.org brought up was that if you are going to give a talk, you want to make sure that you tell people why you're the person that gets to be up here. So my personal, why I'm up here, I've worked in a couple different areas of IT in the past. I currently work as a InfoSec senior specialist. Don't ask me, I don't know what that means, standard HR stuff. And actually, when I submitted for the call for papers, I did tell them that I was all that and the bag of chips. The boring stuff, basically, I do have my CISSP to get past the HR filter. I've got my ITIL Foundations version 3, which I actually looked this up on the website. They do say use IT as a tool. I think they think IT is a bunch of tools. And I've got my Bachelor's of Information System Security, which is a lot of money spent for nothing. I do have some other certs, but most people know nowadays that alphabet soup doesn't impress anyone. You can say that you have every single letter in the alphabet behind your name and nobody cares. So as I said before, we have a little bit different idea here between burnout and flameout. Probably a lot of you have seen either the burnout panel from RSA, maybe other talks on things that cause you to get burned out in IT. But my take on this was a little bit different because I'm not burned out from the normal stuff that people think of. The manager's not buying in, I don't have the tools, I don't have enough people to do my job or help me with my job. Mine actually is, like I said, about the blog that I wrote. I called it InfoSec Flameout because I'm currently working in information security, but I'm not doing the job that I want to do. I've started my career as in security from a kind of bare bones admin position. I want to be a pen tester. I don't get to do that in my company. So unfortunately, I have to do all that on my own. So I wrote a blog entry and basically tried to get my thoughts on paper of why I was getting burned out versus why other people were getting burned out. A little bit of the idea behind it was the quarterback versus the third string lineman. All your, I hate this word, InfoSec rock stars are, you think of them like the quarterback, the people that are, the ones out there doing all the good stuff, doing all the fun stuff, and the ones that get to write white papers and things like that. I'm the one sitting on the bench waiting to get into the game and not getting a chance. Everybody else has got to break their legs before it happens. I actually did get permission from Dual Core. Probably a lot of you guys know this one, but listen to the lyrics on this little clip of a song and you'll kind of get an idea of where I'm coming from.
Signed the first line, it was just 9 to 5. Quickly realized it became 9 to 9. 24/7, 365. A process that separated me from my life. Need to unplug, but you're still online. And you gotta pay the bills every month on time. Want all the hours, you can have them all fine. This is my life, so make it all mine. It's a road to success.
So for anybody that hasn't heard that song, you definitely need to go listen to it if you feel that you're getting burned out in your career. The lyrics of it are just spot on as far as the way that people are always working too many hours, always putting in the extra time and not getting anything out of it. So to give you a little bit of an idea of how I got to the area where I'm in of burnout, I started out in a small computer firm in 1999. I was basically, that was my first tech job out of college. You know, you think, okay, I got my first tech job, this is going to be great. Unfortunately, I got to do everything but computers. I was the shipping and receiving guy. I was the, hey, we need the signature, we'll run halfway across Chicago and do it. Everything that they wanted me to do was not technical at all. So I was also the only one with a computer degree. Unfortunately, because of that, I got kind of a little bit of condescending, tone from the management, from the actual owners of the company, where they were, oh, well, you were hired to do this job. You weren't hired to do the tech job, even though I was the one that had the computer degree. I actually got pulled into my boss, the VP's office for my review for the first year, and got told, oh, you're doing a great job. We're going to give you a quarter an hour raise. I was pretty pissed. So ended up that I went to one of our clients for about double my salary. So they weren't real happy about that one when I left, but that's their problem. So I get to that small CPA firm, which they were offering me a pretty good wage. Unfortunately, I got to choose my own title, which was line administrator. But when they said, yeah, great, you're the line administrator, that means all that computer stuff, right? Now, anybody who's ever worked as the sole computer person in a small company, if you're all that computer stuff, there's pretty much anything with a circuit board. I literally got a printing calculator dropped on my desk with a note that said, doesn't work. Pay the $15, buy another one. So after, it's a 13-person company, so it wasn't a whole lot of work to do. After about 8-10 months, they finally said that they were going to teach me how to do taxes because I had no computer problems left. So you guys would probably give them the same response that I did, which was, yeah, see you, bye. Once I left that, that company, I was like, okay, I got to make sure I don't go to another small company because I don't want to work myself out of a job within a year. So that was a little bit of burnout from that first job, that I've basically worked myself out of a job and I have nothing else to do. So I moved to the enterprise help desk. So this is going to be better, right? I mean, enterprise, it's bigger, you're always going to have people, you're always going to have problems. Hey, that's going to be great, right? Unfortunately, anybody here ever worked the help desk? Does that look familiar? Where's the NE key? Oh yeah, and yeah, my coffee cup holder. Yeah, I got one of those too. Basically, you end up with a lot of your run-of-the-mill, boring, menial questions, to where going to hell was a vacation. So basically, I decided that I wasn't going to get where I wanted to be in working on the help desk. So I decided, where do I need to go from here? Because the help desk was not fulfilling at all. I'm guessing everybody has seen the IT crowd. But the thing was, I started to try and do a little bit of soul searching and say, why am I going to switch careers again? Why would I want to do something completely different that I'm not used to, and completely go to a different side of IT? So I decided that after talking to a couple different areas in IT, that I was really interested in information security. But unfortunately, I didn't have any kind of development experience. I wasn't the kind of person that originally would get involved in hacking or want to break stuff or anything like that. I didn't take my parents' VCR apart when I was a kid or anything like that. So I decided that one just doesn't simply become elite hacksaw. So I had to figure out, how am I going to get to this particular area of the IT world? So I was reading a magazine article when I was on the help desk because I had so much to do, and it talked about white hat hackers. And this article was actually what my dream job would be. And it was, you walk in, you get your coffee, you sit down, boss walks over and says, hey, hack into this company. Yeah, okay, cool. And you start going and plugging away at it. Unfortunately, pretty much anybody that's done any kind of pen testing knows that doesn't happen. It's not that easy. So I said, okay, well, how am I going to at least get my start in this? And how am I going to move into this area? So I decided to beg for a security job from our security area. Talked to the managers, talked to the directors. I'm like, what do I need to do to get in this area? And I scored a security admin position. If anybody's ever worked in security admin, you know that isn't exactly a winning proposition. So I got to the security admin, and it was basically level 2 help desk, just now with more requests. Unfortunately, I got stuck there for about 5 years. So it was a lot of, I need Visio, I need access to this server, a lot of menial stuff just like on the help desk. So basically, I still wasn't happy. I was talking to my manager, I was talking to my director and our VP saying, I'm not happy, I need to be doing something more technical, I need to be going into a position where I'm challenged, and I wasn't getting challenged, so obviously you get burned out again. I got told that you're too technical, which from somebody that wants to be a pen tester, that's the dumbest comment to give them ever. So, obviously my manager didn't agree with my career path, so I still wasn't where I wanted to be. And unfortunately, the company that I work for is very, very conservative. They don't want to see anything break for any reason. So when you have a company that has a conservative view and you want to get into something where you have to be a little bit more liberal, you have to break something to make sure that it's not going to break, unknowingly. So you have to kind of create a to-do list of how to get out of that position because you're burned out again. So the first thing I thought is that, well, I need to get involved in the community, and I didn't know how to do that. A couple of my coworkers said, well, why don't we go to ThoughtCon? I had no idea what ThoughtCon was. I'd heard of Black Hat and DEF CON, had no idea there was other conferences out here. So I started creating my to-do list, went to ThoughtCon, saw a bunch of talks, and I was like, hey, yeah, this is great. This is exactly where I want to be. This is what I want to do. Unfortunately, you can't just jump right into that, so you got to start somewhere. What that did give me, though, is I started out with, a bunch of people when they got done with their talks, oh, hey, I'm on Twitter, follow me on Twitter, here's my, my handle. Well, I didn't have a Twitter. Why would anybody give a crap what I have to say? So at the end of the day, I was like, okay, fine, I'll get a Twitter account, and I'll start by just following people. I'll just, glean any information I can get out of it, basically. And you get to the point where once you start interacting with people, you start to, you actually do start to talk on Twitter as well as just listen. I also started taking some classes. That's when I got my CISSP. I read a bunch of books, but I'm still not where I want to be. I'm still stuck. I'm still burned out. I also, you want to work with people. The MySec group here in Michigan is great. They always have these meetups. They do stuff. Unfortunately, I live in the middle of nowhere. So it took me 2 hours to get here. I don't have anybody I can just run down the street to and, hey, let's go, run backtrack and do some fun stuff. So unfortunately, that wasn't an option for me either. Other issues that you get when you're trying to move into a new position is you're going to end up being a junior. So you've got junior pay, which I mean you can understand because you're not a senior position, not senior at that position. You're going to have to take a pay cut to get to there. Unfortunately, also I'm not a spring chicken, so I'm not going to be able to drink from the fire hose like I used to when I was 18. So you end up with more time spent reading, more time spent researching, trying to get your tools to work the way you want them to, and you're getting less results out of the time spent because your brain just doesn't absorb it as fast. Also, I work in Chicago, so I've got an hour-and-a-half commute each way. That's me most days on the way home. I sleep on the train. I just can't stay awake long enough to do, to run a virtual lab on my laptop or anything like that. So basically, you're burned out. This is my career path so far, and I've tried to put together a couple things of what to do, how to get to where you want to be and where I want to be anyway. And basically, you're on fire. You need to figure out how to put it out and what you can do to kind of lessen it. So what to do? A lot of people tell you, read the manual. There really isn't a manual for this. I mean, it's going to be individual for each person. So the couple things that I have found out though is the first thing to do is unplug. Just like the song says, you have to get away from things. I took a couple trips to Ireland. I completely unplugged. I didn't follow Twitter. I didn't read email. You have to get away from technology for at least a couple days at at certain times, just to let your brain refresh. Let your kind of take a step back, relax, let the stress go down, and basically it'll be there when you come back. Another thing is that our security industry is huge. You're going to you run the gamut of every operating system, every platform. You can't know everything. You're not going to be the best network pen tester. You're not going to be the best risk management person at the same time. You can't know everything, so you've got to pick an area of security and make it yours and just basically get good at that one area. But I also like Finding Nemo. Another thing is that the one thing you'll notice by coming to these conferences, our community is very, very helpful. I mean, you'll get people that will set up, you know, websites that you can run stuff against. You get people that will work with you through tools. You get people that just basically will do anything they can to get you where you want to be. So anything you can do to network with our industry by coming to these conferences, by connecting on Twitter, even just going, you know, having a beer with someone and saying, hey, can we sit down and talk about X, whatever it is, that's going to help you. And the last thing that I had for it was your proper attire. You know, firemen go into a fire, they're always wearing their turnout gear. They're always, you know, wearing the proper clothing before they go do this. So with our industry, we're going to have to wear the proper clothing as well and put on our big kid panties and go for it, you know. So that's my presentation. Anybody have any questions or anybody have any feedback on anything I've missed or anything you guys have seen or suggestions that you guys have of what you've seen and how you've gotten through it? Yeah.